Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Well, we made it in, kids. Look at this. We're in the studio today. I mean, this is commitment. This is what commitment looks like, people. In case you take a picture, this is what it looks like. My man Nick and I driving over the Gandy Bridge, taking our lives into our own hands this morning. My car's blowing all over the bridge. White caps spilling over the Gandy Bridge. Okay, wasn't that bad. But, man, it was harrowing. Good morning to you here on this Thursday as another tropical storm comes over. Somebody sent me a meme today. The lovely Ashley sent me a meme today of 2004, Charlie's path, and then Gene's path. Same thing, same time. Bizarre, absolutely bizarre, but history repeats itself. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes. Thanks for coming in.
I know.
Thanks for risking your life for this mediocre show.
The things I do, I do, but
hazard pay.
There you go. Yeah, it was not a fun drive-in. The bridge was weird this morning. I don't know about you. There wasn't any other car on it but me.
No.
And I'm looking around. I see the water white capping crazy. I can hardly see in front of me. And I'm just like, what the F am I doing?
I'm looking like, what is that on the side of the road? And I'm driving like this big hunk of black something on the side of the road. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's a chair.
Yeah.
It's like an office chair. Like,
I don't remember the last time I've ever had.
Got one in the middle of the road.
I don't remember the last time I ever had to do like the drive when you're first getting your driver's license, and you got to drive like this. 10 and 2. First time I've done that in about 6 years.
Yeah, I was most of the time when I'm driving, I'm pretty relaxed, but it had my attention this morning. There's no doubt about it. It had my attention. So if you're out there driving around, don't be. Just chill out, watch the show today. We got a great show for you coming up. Scott Carter's going to join us at 11 o'clock with the Jeeves Gator Report, and we'll talk about the Gators' big win over Texas A&M. And they got, South Carolina this week?
South Carolina.
The Gamecocks, Shane Beamer's squad. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And Brittany Lincecum's going to join us, LPGA major champion and two-time mom now. But she will be playing in the Pelican, which had the first day canceled today. Yeah, not good golfing weather today.
No, I don't think so, no.
Yeah, today would not be the day. Hopefully the course will dry out, though, and it will be nice and beautiful. Boy, the Pelican is like going up the hierarchy of great golf courses, or certainly relevant golf courses. This match with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy and Spieth and Justin Thomas coming up in December, which I am going to finagle my way into at some point, some way. Well, it's got to get some type of media pass out there. So I'll be going out there tomorrow. So I'm going to go check out the festivities tomorrow. And, but yeah, if you're first of all, I love me some ladies golf, love LPGA golf. Their golf swings are just so beautiful. And I love the way they play. Their short games are so good. I highly, highly advise you, if you are a golf fan, to head out to Pelican this weekend to watch some great ladies golf. We'll get some ticket information for you out there. I don't think it's that expensive to get out there and support these ladies. And it's good. So they have a tremendous field. 7 of the top 10 are out there. A lot of local girls like Brittany Lincecum will be out there. I believe the Corda sisters are playing. So yeah, it's going to be a tremendous field out there. And and now they have Annika Sorenstam, who is their, they're going to make this. It's now going to be called the Annika, very much like the old Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill with the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And it's going to be the Annika, just the Annika. I love it. And so she's going to be the name and the face of this golf tournament moving forward. They moved the purse up from 2.3 to I think $3.2 million. So they are ridiculously focused on making this one of the most prestigious LPGA tournaments on the circuit. So I'm very excited about that. That's a great addition to our sports calendar. And it comes at a time when, it's an interesting time. I mean, I'm sure they didn't count on having a hurricane blow through. But obviously this is more of a tropical storm. There are gusts. I just read up to 68 miles an hour in Pinellas, and I can believe that. So be careful out there. Don't freak out. This is nothing to freak out about, but just be careful out there. I would stay off the roads unless you have something very important, like a show to do, like this show, very important. That would be a reason to go out. But other than that,
Hey,
Chill out.
Mickey Don Don's was open, by the way, this morning.
What?
Yeah.
Mickey Don Don?
So if you want to get some Mickey Don Dons, then that's a reason to leave.
Is that McDonald's you're
yes,
talking
it
about?
is.
Mickey Don Dons? I've never heard that.
That's what I've been calling it forever, Mickey Don Dons.
Since you were 2?
Since I was 2.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for you to get out, by the way.
To go to McDonald's?
Yeah.
That is not a reason to get out. All right, so we got to get into a lot of stuff with the Buccaneers as they head to Germany. I guess they're going to take off in this stuff today. Or maybe they'll delay to let the winds die down or whatever, but they might be a little bit delayed. But they're headed out. They're supposed to practice today at the indoor facility and then head out to Munich, first ever game in Munich, and it's going to be a critical game for them against a very, very good 6-3 Seattle team that is scoring at an alarming rate for Geno Smith. I mean, this is such a crazy league. They are, this is a team that's got a lot of good, young, healthy players. They've drafted well. It's one of these things in the NFL that you're really starting to see take over, and that's it is really a young man's game in a lot of different ways. Now, you look at who's winning Super Bowls, and it's those teams that are, they're still a little bit young, but they got that good experience sprinkled in there, like the Bucs did a couple of years ago. I'd say the same about the Rams. It seems though the critical players are obviously a little bit more experienced, but you're seeing so many good young players coming into this league, and we're going to see one in Kenneth Walker this weekend, who is he's a monster and he's hard to tackle. And if the Bucs don't bring their physicality shoes and get in their run fits, this guy's going to run for 200 on him.
Yeah, and he's a bulldozer in the fourth quarter, by the way. You talk about closing out games.
Yeah.
He's the X factor for Seattle in their last 2 to 3 victories.
Yeah, and the Bucs have not been great in the second half.
No, they have not.
No.
Save the Rams game, for example.
Yeah.
But other than that,
the Rams were worse.
The
Bucs were bad in the second half.
I think I've just learned in that game. It's hard for me to judge the Bucs because that is a bad football team.
Yeah.
Worse than the Bucs are, if you can believe it, offensively, in my opinion.
Really bad.
I mean, I don't know where they're going, but this is no joke, Seattle right now. I said yesterday, I think they're for a real team. I love what Geno Smith is doing. Kenneth Walker, ever since Rashad Penny's gone down, has been an absolute bell cow. We know the two receivers in there, Metcalf and Lockett. So hopefully you get Antoine Winfield back in there, but no easy task. And we know that the Bucs, this is a different team, yes, but the Bucs historically have never played well over the pond. Historically.
Yeah. And, I want to get into, before we get into some of we'll hear from Todd Bowles and Leonard Fournette, who is not happy about getting his time cut down, but he better get used to it. And certainly, if him complaining and pitching a fit on the sideline gets him more playing time, I'm going to be
got some problems.
I'm going to be very, very dismayed if that's what actually happens, because that is not how you run a football team. And look, I get it. You're unhappy. You're getting paid a lot of money. You want to prove your worth. I get that, but at this point, you're just not the best option, and we have to look at some other things. And we'll hear from Lenny in just a little bit, but I want to talk about something that pissed you off, and people were tweeting at me about it. So was it yesterday, Colin Cowherd ripping on the city of Tampa?
It was the 2 days ago.
And there's this groundswell now that Brady may be heading back to New England because he was gushing on his podcast of how well prepared the New England Patriots are, and how I'm watching Belichick from afar, and I'm like, you spend a lot of time watching the Pats because it doesn't look like you're spending a lot of time watching your own film because there's too much shenanigans going on your team. It's Brady's podcast. Whatever, if he wants to gloss the Patriots, whatever, it's fine. But now it started this groundswell of him, going back to New England. First of all, he's not playing another season. That is not happening.
I mean, let's be real. This is national media nonsense, right? I mean, the whole thing that started it, because I watched the segment live, was they had Jeff Howe on, who I believe covers the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, for The Athletic or something like that. And they were talking about if Brady doesn't win a Super Bowl this year and he wants to keep playing, it probably is not going to be with the Bucs because they have a lot of issues. They're probably going to have to lose some players. They're going to be way over the cap. It's not going to be a Super Bowl roster. So where does he go next? And of course, Colin brought up San Francisco, which is the obvious thing. and use the example that he's older now. His parents are older. Maybe he wants to go home somewhere that's comfortable. He's always wanted to play in San Francisco. They have the best roster in the league, so it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then he said like a distant second would be like a New England, for example, because he thinks that he just wants to go somewhere where he's comfortable at this point in his career is kind of how he put it. But when he talked about Tampa, though, he was like, I covered Tampa 25 years ago, and it was all what did he say? Everybody,
it's Ybor City.
It's
and
Ybor
people
City
playing golf.
and people playing golf, and it's always been loose. The organization has always been loose and never really buttoned up. And I think that's what Tom's going through right now.
First of all, the most idiotic take in the world. Like, how great is it? And I've heard him say this many times. Is you worked in Tampa in 1995, bro. You know, that's a long time ago. And the city has changed dramatically. And it wasn't just Ybor City and people playing golf then. The city has changed dramatically. The Buccaneers organization has changed dramatically. In case you haven't noticed, they've won 2 Super Bowls in that since you left. So things have been a little bit more buttoned up. You know, if that organization has always been loose, if that's your take on the Buccaneers, you know, it's probably a little bit archaic. I would update that if I were you, Colin Cowherd. It's so ignorant to have a notion of an area that you lived in 25 years ago that has grown exponentially and has gone through so many different iterations of winning Stanley Cups and Super Bowls and the Rays, of course, going to the post, all this stuff. I mean, this place has changed dramatically. So just an ignorant take by Colin, who's just become such a SoCal elitist, bro. I can't take it. I can't. I used to love listening to the guy, and now it's just this Southern California elitist, condescending. I got no time for it.
I think he's still by far the best in my opinion.
I'm sure he doesn't care, but
no, but I still think he's by far the best on all the shows, though, in my opinion. But I don't.
The best national sports talker.
Yes, but I'm with you though. Since he's moved to California, he's very. I get it. He's very LA centric, but sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, please, let's get out of that bubble a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it served him well, but he's kind of a sellout. He sells out to whatever his interests are, business wise, or from a network standpoint to keep his job. That's why he is who he is. That's why he's so incredibly successful and makes 10 times more money than I'll ever make. And, he could give a rat's ass what I think, but I'll defend Tampa Bay. Let's just put it that way. All right. The Bucs are 2.5-point favorites over the Seattle Seahawks. Make that make sense. Tom Brady, Buccaneers, Super Bowl champ, Seattle still on it.
That sounds to me like a lot of people who still aren't buying into Seattle.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what they have to do for you to buy into them at this point.
Yeah. These NFL teams, you are what your record says you are, especially at this point of the season. We're past the halfway mark. They're 6-3. The Bucs are 4-5, and Seattle's scoring points. The Bucs are not scoring points. Seattle's defense is not anything to write home about, but
the Bucs offense ain't needing to write home about.
So I don't. We won last week. Yeah, you scored 16 points against the very bad Rams team. I wouldn't be throwing a party. A win's a win, and we have pointed out all week that things are moving in the positive direction. I saw a lot of positives, but the receivers have to get their head out of their ass this week. No question about it. 8 drops, probably another 4 or 5 contested catches that they didn't get. Brady's interceptionless streak it's
remarkable.
It's comical, bro.
It's remarkable.
He had 3. He had 3 last game. The screen pass, Jalen Ramsey in the end zone, and there was a third I'm missing that he threw right to guys. And he's done it
every
3 or 4 times every game. He throws it right to him, and they can't catch it.
Well, it's weird though. It's like there's actually like
and the narrative is, at least he's not throwing picks.
There's actually proof out there. Like every quarterback has about 2 or 3 of those a game. So it's not just for Brady. It's just funny that nobody can catch any of his, though.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we pushing here? 8 games without a pick for Tom Brady?
I think he's getting ready to set the NFL record of 300 and something passes without an interception or something.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's literally going to – I think last year he set the NFL record for most pass attempts, and he's on pace to break that this year.
That's crazy.
As a 45-year-old quarterback, which, by the way, was not the plan. coming into this season.
And then frankly, that's why I think it's a main reason why this offense has been so disjointed, is that they keep trying to ram that round peg into square hole, and it's not working. It's not working. If you can't run the football, you have a completely unimaginative running game. You can't bootleg because of Brady's lack of mobility. You can't do a lot of movement things with the quarterback in terms of RPOs and zone reads and things like that can give your running game a little bit more juice. Like you look at San Francisco's and all these other running games. Well, they got quarterbacks that are moving all over the place. So I'll give Byron Leftwich a pass in that way, but there still are ways you can get misdirection going without having, the quarterback uniquely or the focus of the running game. There's ways to do it. And certainly, running straight up the middle with two tight ends with an undersized interior offensive line is not the way to do it. But yet we continue to do it. Get those guys out on the move. They're smaller offensive linemen. Pull them out. Get the traps going. Get a lot of movement in your offensive line. That's how you're going to run the football. Not just trying to push people when you can't push people.
Well, I think though we're almost too far in the season for you to almost develop a run game. I think we've gotten to that point now. I don't know how much better it can get. To me, even though the passing game hasn't been that great, it's their best shot. It really is their best shot. I mean, it's not the plan to have Brady throw 50 times, but the only way the Bucs can score any points at the moment is him throwing 50 times. And that gets you what? 16 points? That's it right now. So at some point, that to me, I have more hope that can turn around, because I did see things like we talked about. The protection has been much better the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
So now it turns to Tom Brady. Trust these guys. Have trust in these guys.
The biggest, besides the offensive line, the miscalculation early on that you could put Gedeke and Hainsey in there and it would work, which I think it was the key miscalculation has led to most of the issues here this year, is the fact that they've been so horrible in the red zone and on third down. And that's just, and that is scheme. That is Byron Leftwich. That is Tom Brady. That so much of that is scheming. And you look at their red zone attack.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so predictable and so boring. You look at the all 22 and some of the routes that are being run, and you're like, what are the combinations? What are you trying to do here? There's very little, picking and crossing going on. There's just guys trying to beat their man, in this compressed space, and Godwin is getting doubled and Evans is getting doubled, and Brady isn't even looking for the tight end Otten or the running backs in certain. Now this past game, I thought they were a little bit better. They ran a middle screen to Fournette in red zone. He almost scored on it. That was nice creativity. I like that. The game-winning touchdown was a play we had not seen. That's the best play they've
called in the red zone all year.
And I always say the backside tight end. He's always open
every time.
He's always open. And that's not so much of a backside crossing tight end, but it is kind of flow to the left, block down, reverse out. And Kate Otten sold it. It was something different. And guess what? It worked. It's something that the Rams hadn't seen. They got sucked in on the play action, and boom, he's open.
Hell,
great call,
we haven't
great
seen in a while either. And I know this play is generally a low percentage play, but when you have Mike Evans, it works. Is the fade.
Yeah.
When's the last time we've seen the fade down in there?
Not often.
We don't see it anymore. Like you said, it always seems like everything comes towards the middle.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of just doing these little crossers, or everybody's just kind of running and doing these little hitch and stopping in the end zone, and it breaks up, or he doesn't have a chance to even get it out. It's so unimaginative, like you said. Yeah. But there's so much more potential here.
Exactly.
It's the frustrating part here.
Yeah. And you did a story on this for Outsider yesterday. And we talked about it a couple days ago, but when Brady said on his podcast, his well-sponsored podcast, that the effort was embarrassing, an embarrassing effort on game days, not game day, game days. That is, and for him to say this 9 games into the season, that was alarming to me. When I heard it, I was like, whoa. Wow.
And it really didn't even get much play until yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was 2 days later.
We talked about it on Tuesday, and we're like, wow, this is big news.
Yeah.
Huge news.
We know that we're always going to play Brady audio on Tuesday. So I listened to the podcast that Monday night, and it was the first thing that jumped out to me. And I was like, Well, I think that's newsworthy.
Yeah.
And I wrote a story about it, and I told you, and I was like, you listen to the podcast yet? You got to listen to this bite. I mean,
I was like,
because it's so, it catches you by surprise.
Yeah.
Because we've listened to every single Brady podcast on this thing. We've listened to every single Brady presser, and it's always cliche. We got to do better. We got to execute. And that was the one time where he just was straight honest with you.
Yeah.
And after a win, too, by the way.
Right.
After a win to say something like that was
maybe
very
he was
telling.
waiting to do it after a win.
Maybe.
Which maybe should have done it after the losses. Do we have it?
I think I have found where it is. So
Okay. For those of you who missed it, we played it on Tuesday, but it's pretty candid assessment. I would.
There's only so deep of a hole that you can dig, and if you dig yourself too deep a hole, you got no shot coming out of it. The best teams start playing well around Thanksgiving. That's because you basically figured out what you are and what you need to do. And there's definitely some things we do well. There's a lot of things we don't do well. And I think too much of good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad leaves you average. And no one's trying to be average. If you want to be a great team, you got to be way better than average. So correcting our mistakes, improving our effort, which that's probably the most embarrassing part of our team is our effort level on game day. And that's something we better fix.
Damn. Now, was Bowles asked about this yesterday?
I don't believe so. No.
That's not good. Yeah, and we've kind of looked at the tape and said the same thing most of the year. This is embarrassing the way this team has played. And and of course Warren Sapp pointed out the Devin White loaf, and we've been talking about this for most of the season. Like this, especially in the losing streak, these guys are just not playing hard, and it really shows up in the run defense, right, and in the run game.
Yeah,
those are places where it's physicality, it's want to, desire, focus. Who's going to be the batter man? And we haven't been. The Bucs have not been. They just haven't.
No, they're not a buttoned up bunch. And I think it is interesting though, and to go back to a little bit to Colin's point, he did say loose atmosphere. And I feel like that was one of the reasons why Brady did want a new voice as the head coach, because he thought Bruce was too loose. And
be careful what you wish for.
I'm just trying to put everything together right now.
No, you're right.
Okay.
You're absolutely right.
And then Bowles comes in and says, we need to fix the details. Details kind of laxed a little bit at the end of last season. And then here we are. And all of a sudden the details, the effort, the drama, it's as worse as it's ever been.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, you put all the timeline together there. It's fascinating. I mean, this season in itself, I don't know how it's going to end, but it deserves a deep dive into what has happened behind the scenes, because there's so many unanswered questions and so many talking points here and there of what's going on.
How about Harold Godwin ripping Byron Leftwich? Did you see that?
I missed that.
Yes. He was talking about the run game, and he basically said, look, we got a whole bunch of different runs in the playbook, but the play caller has to call
He's the run game coordinator, correct?
Yeah, but he said, we have these things, but the run game, the guy calling the plays has to call them. So that's a problem.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a problem. It's not just, Leonard Fournette, but that's why I said after the Atlanta game, this is dysfunction junction.
Yeah, literally.
You got the run game coordinator sniping at the offensive coordinator. You got you got the entire fan base pointing out the obvious predictable offense. You can see it on film how the defenses are reacting to it. You're running the ball on 3rd and a long 2 at the 3-yard line. In a double tight end formation, 9 against 7 blockers with Leonard Fournette thinking that's going to work. If that's your red zone offense. And then now Brady's saying how the effort on game days is embarrassing. Todd Bowles is up there going, everything's fine, nothing to see here. And he's not saying that. He's like, we got to be better, but completely unwilling to call out anybody. And that's not his style. I get it, but it just, from the jump, it just Devin White getting picked on by Warren Sapp. I mean, there's just been so much
Leonard
Fournette having a hissy fit on the sideline, while he's averaging 1.6 a carry, during this game. It just like this is not good football, and a lot of the deficiencies are just so obvious and should have been fixed. You're putting Luke Gedicke's playing, he's the worst rated guard in the league, and you're still putting him back in there, thinking at some point it's gonna work. Asking a Central Michigan kid, right tackle, to play right left guard in the NFL. It just from the very beginning has been a lot of, like head scratchers, like what's going on? And then you think, it's Brady, it's the Bucs, they'll figure it all out. Well, guess what? They hadn't figured it out.
It shows on the field.
Yeah,
all of
they
it
haven't
shows
figured
on the
it
field.
out. If all this drama that's going on, you always say, well, that's, it only becomes a big deal when you're losing. Well, maybe that's why you're losing. Maybe that's why you're losing, because of all this stuff that's going on. I don't remember having these things in the first 2 years of Brady, even in COVID. We had the AB thing with the fake card. That's about it. But for the most part, it was drama free. And from the day Brady retired, it has been anything but. Then the whole rigmarole, the Bucs calling his bluff, getting him back, re-signing everybody at the last minute. Then Bruce, retires out of nowhere. It's been crazy train. It's been crazy train for a while. But here you sit at 4-5 and leading your division with a chance to beat a Seattle team you're favored to beat for whatever reason, but it's a winnable game. I mean, I'm going to make out Seattle to be the freaking, the NFC champions just yet. They're a very beatable team.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest about that. So it's a game you can and frankly should win if you are who we think you are.
And by the way, not to get too ahead of everything, but I still think the Bucs will likely win the division and get to the playoffs. At least they should. Let's put it that way. They should.
They should.
At this point, you look at the playoff bracket because the teams are already starting to identify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Bucs get that home playoff game, guess who they would play right now in the first round?
Dallas,
a team that they already beat and handled, might I add, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm not risk concerned there.
In their house.
Yeah. And so it's either going to be Dallas or the Giants with Daniel Jones that you're likely going to play.
That's what I'm saying is like
think about that. Look at the quarterbacks. I mean, look at the quarterbacks I'm talking about. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins. Anybody trust him in a big game? No.
So it's a night game.
So when you look at it from that standpoint,
prime time.
If you get into the dance at all, that's really the goal at this point, just get in.
Right.
Look at the quarterbacks that you're going to be facing. It's not exactly a murderer's row like it's in the AFC.
No.
So, I mean, with all this being said, it's still there for the Bucs to take.
And I put this scenario out there yesterday, and it's just a scenario. We're just having fun with this. We're not reporting it as true. So all you journalists out there, calm down. We're having an entertaining chat here. There is chatter. There's been chatter recently about Gronk coming back. And we'd heard this from the beginning of the season. Wait till the bye week. If they're still in it at the bye week, he would come back. All right. So you win this game. If you don't win it, you're in it. You're still in it. And, Gronk can come back. And then they're still expecting to get Jensen back. That's still a thing. And again, Jensen, move Haney to left guard. You got a nicely stout interior right there. Makes a huge difference.
And another thing, too.
Not to lever it. You're playing great.
And another thing, too, Bucs haven't been able to find a third receiver. And I know Julio's back on the injury point, or the injury report. Shocker there. But you know what I would do is I wouldn't play Gage in this game. Let him get 3 weeks off.
Yes, absolutely.
Get that hamstring back, and maybe we can get some resemblance of the $10 million receiver that they signed.
He did have one game with, 12 catches, right?
Well, I think that was more by default because there was nobody else to throw the ball to.
But he caught the ball.
But he caught the ball,
right.
And he made the big play at the end there. So, I mean, but I wouldn't play him this week. I get him 3 weeks off, get some of that hamstring back, and let's see if we can find a third receiver.
So, in a positive scenario, Jensen comes back. Gronk comes back. You got Gronk and Kate Otten now. Ooh.
Brady has always done well with 2 tight end sets.
Right, exactly. And neither one of them's a murderer. And this 2 tight end set. So Gronk and Otten, Evans, Godwin getting better, getting more strength on that knee. Bye week to help him. Let his body heal up a little bit. Gage comes back healthy. Maybe Julio's you're starting to trust Scotty Miller a little bit. That gives you speed. Say what you want about Scotty. He can take the top off the defense.
More
Just
Rashad White.
ask him. He's the fastest man in the NFL. More Rashad White. More Keyshawn Vaughn. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit of juice going. The defense, yes, we lost Shaq Barrett, but did you notice? Good pressure last week against the bad offensive line. I get it. But, forces Bowles to be a little bit more multiple and creative in his pressures, which I think we need to have anyway. So, and if Akeem Hicks can stay healthy, look how much better the defense is with him in there. So, there are scenarios here that you start to say, okay, this Bucs team could be looking pretty good by Thanksgiving. It could be a start to be a dangerous team. You look at the schedule. It's, it's not easy. It's the NFL. We can lose every week. But, okay, you got Carolina and Atlanta at the end. Carolina beat you, and Atlanta should beat you. But this is going to be a different team. Now, there's also a scenario where none of those people come back, and this team continues to play like crap, like it has, and that could be a scenario.
If you lose this week, going into the bye week 4-6, then everything we're saying right now just looks even.
Well, I don't know. Like you go 4-6, you're still going to be tied for the lead, probably in the division.
Yes, I get that. It's not going to feel good going into the bye week.
No, it's not going to feel good. But again, it's still, if all those things were to still happen, you got a chance. It's just like the point is there are not 4 or 5 teams in the NFC that you just look at and go, we got no shot against those teams. We got no shot against those. No,
I think there's 2 teams that sit head and shoulders above the rest of the NFC right now.
The Eagles.
I think it's Philly. And I don't think it's Minnesota because they win every game by 1 score less. And Kirk Cousins never wins in a big game. So I don't want to hear any Minnesota nonsense. I think them, and I think San Francisco, because San Francisco has the best roster in the league probably.
Lost to Atlanta by 14.
True, but they are going through injuries as well.
Yep.
They're going to figure it out. They're always in the NFC Championship.
Yeah. But what happens when
outside of that, I don't see
what happens when the China doll gets hurt?
The China doll.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't have an answer for that.
Exactly. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some golf with the delightful Brittany Lincecum, LPGA major champion, hometown girl. She'll be teeing it up at the Pelican tomorrow when the monsoon is over. So we'll have some fun chatting with Brittany. She has a new baby, all kinds of fun stuff. Always a great guest, Brittany Lincecum. When we come back. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com. They are Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. Just go to emerginginv.com, get all the information right there if you are in need of a private investigator. And, of course, Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves, jeeveslawgroup.com. I want to welcome in one of our favorite guests and someone I've been covering since she turned professional at age 19, Brittany Lincecum, two-time major champion on the LPGA Tour, 8-time winner, and now two-time mama. She's got 2 daughters that she will be bringing out to the Pelican this weekend. Hello, Brittany. How are you?
Hey, JP. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. Nice of the good Lord to rain out today, so you only have to play 54 holes, and you can come on my show. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, totally.
So how you doing? You had your second daughter in August, Emery and Sophia, your two daughters. Yep. So you're getting back out there. How you feeling? Not a whole lot of sleep, huh?
No, this baby is definitely against sleep and likes to be awake most of the day. So not a lot of sleep happening, but obviously still super rewarding. And just seeing the 2 girls together, I mean, they're going to be the best of friends growing up. So it's going to be super cool to watch them grow. And you know me, I'm getting back to it. I definitely should have practiced a little bit more leading up, but obviously a little bit more busy and just trying to figure out how to balance everything. Yeah. I'm sure I'll figure out here in the months to come. But it's been super great. You know, obviously two girls and playing the job that I love, and what could be better, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a season for everything, right? And there was a season for you to really concentrate on your golf when you were young, and you won 8 times, you won 2 majors, and you were as successful as any American player on tour. And then it was like, okay, you know what? I want to get married. I want to have some kids. You like to go fishing. You like to go to Lightning games. Sorry, I missed you the other night. I mean, you're living your life. Yeah. You're living the dream, right? So golf may not be the most important thing, and that's okay, right?
Absolutely. You know, it's like I said earlier, I was just trying to balance everything. You know, I still love golf. I still love what I do, but you know, if it becomes too much, you know, next season, then, you know, it just might be my time to retire. Maybe this is just the way it was supposed to happen. And, you know, super grateful for my husband and both my girls. I wouldn't change that for the world. And I still love golf, but, you know, traveling with 2 babies is not going to be easy. So we're going to try, tee it up, you know, starting in January and kind of see how it goes. But I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit rougher of a road than what it was with just 1.
So you're going to bring them both out on tour and travel around and do the whole family thing out there.
Yeah, that's the plan. You know, we have a great daycare on tour that Smuckers provides for us, and my mom and dad are super able to travel with me, so they're going to help me as much as they can, which is great. So we're going to try to make it work and see what happens. But like I said, I'm sure it's not going to be easy.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Well, and then you got so many great young players out there who don't have kids and are spending, you know, 20 hours a day on the range. So it's hard. It's hard to compete. But talk a little bit about the field out there. I believe it's 7 of 10 at the Pelican this week, of top 10 in the world. And there's a lot of girls from around here that are just really great up-and-coming players, already established players, the Corda sisters. Talk a little bit about the field this week out there at the Pelican.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super strong field. I'm actually surprised that they don't have 10 of the top 10 because, you know, this is an event that's just been top-notch since the first year that they started, and the Doyles are just doing everything they can to get everything we need to get all the top players here. So I don't know if it was just we were in Korea and Japan the last couple of weeks, so I don't know if just some girls stayed overseas and just didn't come back. Because, like I said, it's just a wonderful event, one you wouldn't want to miss. But you're right. The tour is getting younger and younger. Girls are getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I am definitely getting older. So it's not the way it used to be. When I came out on tour 18 years ago, you could shoot around even par, 1 over, and make the cut, no problem, make a little bit of money, no big deal. Now, if you're not 2 under par probably every week, you're not going to make the cut, or you're risking, being right on that cut line. So it's great to see, the LPGA, we're just growing, getting bigger and better, younger players, like you said, girls that are hungry and they want to practice hours and hours throughout the day. And purses are up. We have more events, so there's more playing opportunities, which is great. But it's definitely getting harder for sure.
Brittany Lincecum joining us here, 2-time major winner, 8-time winner on the LPGA Tour. She'll be playing out at the Pelican this weekend. No play today, but they'll start up tomorrow and finish through the weekend. It's going to be beautiful weather, so get on out there. And this is kind of your home tournament now, right, Brittany? And they have big plans for this. They just announced the Annika, right, where Annika is going to be the kind of the name on this tournament, and they're increasing the prize money to what, $3.2 million. That's a big deal. So just talk about the future of this tournament and how you see it playing out.
Yeah, it's so great to finally have an event in my backyard. I remember going to the JCPenney Classic years and years ago, that team competition. I did the standard bearing for Laura Davies and John Daly, and that was kind of what jump-started me to want to be a pro golfer, just going to that event and seeing how cool it was. So, we'll definitely bring the kids out this week. Like you said, the weather, hopefully after today, is going to be beautiful. But it's so great to have a home game, to be able to sleep in my own bed and have home cooked meals. And then just to be able to drive to the golf course. It's fantastic. If you haven't been out to the Pelican, it is spectacular.
It is.
It's so beautiful. So definitely, bring the family out and come get some autographs, come hang out with us. It's going to be a great 3 days of golf for sure. Yeah.
You mentioned that the autographs and the LPGA, it's a little bit different than the PGA. It's not as stodgy, maybe is a word I would use. It's just not. It's much more loose, and the ladies are very approachable, right? So you don't mind, not during play. Don't come up while she's going, just made a birdie or a bogey, maybe even worse, and ask for an autograph. But when they're done with their rounds and they've signed their scorecard, very, very agreeable to come out, take pictures, and do autographs, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've signed for little kids. I mean, you can't say no to a child, when you're out playing, which is totally fine. None of us even blink at that for sure. But definitely, come on out. We love seeing kids out, especially young girls. We're always trying to grow the game to make it better for the future generations. And, we love seeing those little kids coming out, and, we give them balls or sign their hats. Just the smile on their face is so rewarding that it's just so cool to see.
Brittany Lincecum joining us here. So where's your game at right now? I mean, I'm sure you're still hitting it 290 or further. Yeah. Where's your game at?
When I play at home against my buddies, I seem to be doing really well, but honestly, I feel like it's just more the mental side of it. Just learning how to win again and learning, those nerves, getting in, competitive mode and in contention, especially on the weekends, kind of relearning those feelings again. It's kind of weird how those kind of go away, but like I said, when I play with friends around, or I did the media day for Pelican the other day, I made 4 birdies in 9 holes, which obviously I would take that every day.
Right.
I seem to do fine. It's just, when you step inside the ropes and you got to tee it up on a Thursday, something in my brain's just not connecting yet with the rest of my game, and remembering that I am an 8-time winner on the LPGA. So I think if I can figure that out, we'll be all right. But it feels pretty good. I played yesterday on the Pro-Am. Even in the wind, obviously the wind is going to be a little bit stronger than we were anticipating for this week. And the golf course is super challenging. From tee to green, it's not too bad, but if you get on the wrong side of the green, there's some buried elephants under some of those holes that if you're on the wrong side, you're going to be in big trouble. So it's definitely a game of misses this week. Yeah, that 18th green is a lot. It's a good one. It's kind of extra. How do you find the course? I mean, most of the players I've heard have said it is really, really challenging. They can set it up extremely challenging. And in the wind this week, what are you thinking the winning score is going to be? With the weather, I think this year it's going to be less than what it was last year. I feel like it might have been around 17 under last year. But just with the wind conditions, and like I said, off the tee, can literally hit it anywhere. There's no out of bounds. There's no hazards. It's like the dream amateur golf course. But when you get up by the green, that's where you're going to have some trouble. So if you don't keep it in the right section, in some holes, we're not even going to aim at the pin, depending on where the hills are, where the ridges are, where you definitely got to play the slopes on these greens. And then just kind of hope your ball takes the right slope and goes towards the hole. But by far, it's a second shot golf course. And then whoever can, get it up and down. There's a lot of, we're going to do a lot of putting around the greens because there's a lot of false fronts where the ball just kind of rolls off and the grass is kind of sandy and you can lay the sod over it super quick. So we're definitely going to use the putter more this week. But for sure, if you can get that putter going, get the speed down, you're going to do good this week for sure.
Do you have your pairing yet? Who are you playing with on Friday?
I do have my pairing, and I am drawing a blank to who it was.
I'm sorry. I should know that.
I think I'm 1142, but
my bad.
I don't remember who it is.
My bad. That was a reporter's mistake there.
No, you're fine. I at least know my tee time. That's probably a good
that's
thing.
the most important thing. So people can come out and watch you. 11:42 is your tee time. Get on out there and watch Brittany. And as you look at the state of golf right now, the LPGA, and of course what's going on the men's tour with Live Golf, wouldn't it be nice for somebody to start a Live female tournament and a women's tournament? And you can somebody throw $100 million at you. That'd be nice.
We haven't been approached yet. We had a player meeting this week, and the commissioner said, they haven't come our way just yet.
I've heard.
So it's still kind of up in the air of what will happen. I'm sure it's just a matter of time. But, there's two sides. Obviously, there's a lot of money, but there's obviously a lot of negatives to what their country does and being a woman. So it's kind of tricky. It's a tricky situation. We'll just cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the Saudis coming with the money for the LPGA tournament, given their background with women. Maybe not. But I have heard rumblings, and I'm sure you have too, that there are other entities out there that are looking at the LPGA and saying, and I've thought this forever, and this has always been, a debate of, I just think the LPGA is undermarketed. I think your players, your product, everything about the LPGA tour is magnificent. And I just don't think it gets enough marketing, enough play, especially in this day and age. And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about, because we can see what happened to the PGA Tour since Live came along. I'm not a big Live golf fan, and I don't like it at all. But it has forced the PGA Tour to step up with a ton more money, do a lot more things for the players that the players have been talking about for decades that the PGA could never do. And now when there's competition, they found the money and they found a way to do this stuff. So, I'm thinking, well, maybe the same thing's going on the LPGA side, and I'm sure the players are thinking the same thing, right?
Unfortunately, we don't have that money hiding somewhere miraculously. That would be fantastic.
Well, you don't know that.
But thank you for saying all the great things. I love the LPGA. Obviously, I've been out there 18 years and have seen it from rock bottom, from where I thought we were going to lose the tour with an old female commissioner, to Mike Wan kind of bringing it back the last 10 or 11 years, and now Molly taking over. So we have like 34 events on the schedule. We're going to play next year for over $100 million in prize money, which I think 6 years ago we were only at 48 million. So it's definitely going in the right direction. I obviously wish it would go a little bit quicker. Just selfishly, I feel like our brand is such a great brand. We do exactly what the PGA Tour does. They just, get a few more eyeballs than we do maybe, but we can still hit those same shots and do everything they can do. So it's cool to see, the majors all stepping up their game this year, doubling their purses. I think the US Open is at 10 mil. KPMG is at 9 mil, which is just truly incredible.
Wow.
And then events like the Pelican, going to 3.2 million next year. That's amazing. So we're definitely going in the right direction. Just wish it would happen a little quicker, selfishly.
A little more money than you used to play for at St. Pete Country Club with all those old hacks like me and those guys, right?
Yeah, my little $10 birdie game.
It was a lot of money back then, though, right?
It was.
You'd be walking off the, taking about a couple $100 from those guys, right? Or more.
It doesn't matter how much of money it is. I still get nervous the same. So it's a $1 birdie game, $5 birdie game. When you have a 5-footer to win a hole, there's still the same amount of pressure. It's just the funniest thing.
Who's like the biggest name golfer that you've played with and maybe had a wager with and maybe taken some money from?
We're all so cheap. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter the amount really. Like we'll just play like $5 birdies, or we make the cut and we feel like somebody else's game isn't doing well. We'll be like, hey, okay, let's pick it up. Let's play a birdie game today. But there's Brittany Lang, Anna Nordquist, Ryan O'Toole's a big gambler. There's a few girls that'll do that with you just to kind of something else to play for, maybe
Yes.
to try to make more birdies.
Does that get you going a little bit? Because I can't. I mean, we don't bet big in my group, but I can't play unless there's something on the line. I completely lose focus, and it doesn't have to be much. Like $2 gets me going, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It just is a little something. The pro the club here in Pasadena where I play out of. Him and I play a $1 birdie game every Friday. We don't pay out. We just kind of keep it rolling. But
right.
There's $1 on the line. You want to keep it going. So. I was actually $42 down at one point just with my thumb injury and then being pregnant with my first daughter. So
right.
I am happy to report that I am $1 up right now.
Oh,
so
the tide
moving
has
in the
turned.
right direction.
The tide has turned. Yeah, I played at Pasadena out there the other day with Barry Smith, and I hadn't played out there in probably 10 years. Boy, they've done a great job with that golf course at Pasadena.
They have.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yep.
All right.
New single owner. He's putting a lot of money into it, which is awesome.
That's great to see. All right, Brittany, I will be out there tomorrow. So I'll definitely come by and say hello, and we'll encourage everybody else to get out there. 11:48. Did you say 11:48? Somewhere around
2,
there.
I think.
11:42.
Yep.
She'll be playing with Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas. Oh no, that's another match. That's another match. Are you going to go to that match?
December.
Are you going to go to that match?
Gosh, I'm hoping to get a couple tickets to that. It's going to be really cool to see.
Right. So you definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to finagle everybody's trying to finagle their way out there. There's no public sale, but I'm sure you got enough pull. You'll definitely be out there. Maybe
I hope so.
Maybe you can caddy or be the sign girl like you were at the JC Penney.
Stand Bear. Oh my
Stand-a
God,
bear,
that'd be so funny.
Yeah. Definitely take that job. All right, listen, Brittany, thanks so much for joining us. We're rooting for you. Let's get in the hunt on Sunday so we can all get out there and cheer you on.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Brittany Lincecum, right
Bye.
there. One of our favorite guests. Just love following her career. Winning a couple major championships. She played with the men on the PGA Tour. We talked about that many times. She's come on to the Barbasol Championship. So. 5th woman ever to play at a PGA Tour event. What did she hit? Missed the cut by 9 shots. Shot 78 and then 71. He was probably a little nervous on first day, but then shot 71. So pretty cool. Great young lady. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll hear from Todd Bowles. Todd talked yesterday on his before his trek to Germany as the Bucs get ready to fly out. We are brought to you by Emerging Investigations and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have had a insurance issue with your insurance company and they didn't pay out what they should on a totaled car, which is what normally happens, if you feel you got shorted, you may have a case. So call them at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. It's a free call, and they can and should be able to help you out. And if you're having issues with your home insurance as well, they can do that. It's the Jeeves Law Group. All right, back in a second with Todd Bowles. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, Using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Golden Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. It's a good time to do your annual insurance checkup. So you just give them a call, tell them who you're with, what your costs are on your home insurance, your auto insurance, your business insurance, and then they do all the work. They shop it around. They say, hey, we found a company that can save you a couple grand here, a couple hundred here, a couple here, and then you switch companies, you pay the bill all in one place, and guess what? You save money. It's not a bad idea. Let them do the work. You save the money. 813-877-7799. It's Italiano Insurance, and they've been in business for over 60 years. The Small Business of the Year, named by the Tampa Chamber a few years ago. Great folks over there. Great customer service. The best of the best. And I believe Jeff is over in Germany right now, getting ready to watch the Buccaneers. So we got to get maybe we'll get TJ on from Germany tomorrow. We get somebody on from Germany tomorrow. We're gonna have somebody from Munich.
Yeah, I was seeing some of the media is already over there, and they've been taking pictures and everything, and it looks like a vibe out there.
Any of the local stations going? I think ABC Action News might be going.
I'm not sure about local stations.
I know Channel 8's not going. Heard that.
Yeah, we did hear that.
But I think I saw a promo that Channel 10 might be going. Or Channel 28.
Forgive me because I'm just right now I'm drawing a blank. Who's the Channel 11 Sports?
Is that Evan?
He's 10.
10. Oh God, I saw him the other day. I forget. Kyle
Berger?
Kyle Berger, yeah.
Okay.
Kyle and forgive me. Sorry, guys. But are they? Yeah, they might be going. That'd be good. They do a good job when they go.
The more the merrier. I'd love for the media to be out there.
Yeah, I used to love going on the road and being able to do those colorful stories, and do the. I remember when we went to Philly. And by the way, we're waiting on Scott Carter. We're going to do our Gator report here in just a second when he jumps aboard, and then we'll do Todd Bowles in the 11:15 segment. I remember going to Philly and doing the obligatory, okay, let's go do this South Philly, get the Philly cheesesteak, So I go to one of Pat's or Gino's or whatever it was. And so we're shooting behind, I'm like, I'm going to go back behind and cook up some cheesesteak. So they got me back there, and they're seeing the way they're doing it, man. And they take this frozen like glob of meat, right? And they throw it on the grill and just let it start, kind of cooking up. And then you're just like, and the grease is just like, you just got to spoon the grease off into the grease trap. And I'm looking like underneath, it's so nasty and so dirty. It's 3 dead cockroaches over here. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, man. And I'm scooping it up, and they're throwing the onions and stuff on. And then the cheese whiz goes on it. And I'm like, this is going to be great. And I eat it, and I'm like, it tastes good. It tastes really good. And like about 30 minutes later, it's like,
Where did we get here, though?
Bad.
Where did we just get here?
Because I was talking about, going on the road and doing colorful stories about the,
and this is Philly?
And Philly, yeah. When we went to Philly for the 700th time for the playoffs, and going up to Montreal, following the Lightning on the 2004 quest, and going to Marty St. Louis' house with his mom and dad who invited us in. She's bringing out his original sweater from his youth hockey days and posters and stuff. And it's just like, this is so cool. And just going around to the different places and being able to tell the stories of the history of the cities, and, running up the steps like Rocky. So cliche, I know, but we do it. It's for fun. And, yeah, it's fun. So going to Germany, I mean, my God, how many opportunities would you have to sample the culture over there and the history and the incredible history of that country in Munich?
Who would have thought the demand for this game? I think I heard the other day it was 3 million.
3 million people signed on to get tickets. 3 million people.
I mean, do they have something on their hands where it could be more popular there than it is in London?
Well, when there was NFL Europe, the Berlin team was, I think, the most. Berlin and London, I think, were the most successful teams. And as I recall, Germany really, really took to the NFL. I remember Florida State had that player that actually.
Bjorn Werner, he's over there. He was on Good Morning Football the other day.
Is he still playing in the NFL?
No. But they had him on Good Morning Football because he's German and everything. So yeah, he's over there.
Yeah, so they've produced, and he was a really good football player.
First round pick.
Yeah, he was a first round pick from Germany. So I think football. The German culture seems to kind of lend itself to football. So I think the NFL looks at that market as a very fertile market, and maybe we'll have more games in Munich. I mean, right there, when you get 3 million people signing up for tickets, that's a no brainer that they're going back there.
Yeah, I've always thought those games made sense. I mean, didn't they try Mexico City out a couple times?
Yes.
And I never thought that, like, logistically that made sense, to be honest with you. Like, I couldn't see it. But
Mexico is just, I mean, it's a country run by the cartels. You don't. So if you want to do anything in Mexico,
I can't recall.
You don't know who to call. Whether you call the Mexican government or call the cartel that runs that particular area.
I can't recall how those games turned out, really, but
nobody wants to go down there and play because the stadium is a mile high. It's smoggy. It's awful.
Is it Estadio Azteca? Is that where they played?
Yeah, and it's awful. And these stadiums in Europe, I mean, the Tottenham one, they literally made for NFL football.
Yeah.
They designed it for NFL football. Allianz Stadium, where they're playing, is an iconic stadium.
Yeah, Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Bayern. I mean, it's the red. If you've seen it, it's like the red spaceship. Looks a lot like the Vegas Stadium.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, their stadiums and their their accoutrements.
Since we love going to so many countries, let's just play in Qatar next time. How about that?
I heard they had a few stadiums that'll be empty. We haven't even touched on that. By the way, I guess there was a big snub yesterday on the U.S. roster.
There were a couple, yes.
Yeah.
There were a couple. Ricardo Pepi, and which is a great name, by the way. Ricardo Pepi and Zach Steffen.
Yes.
So big names there. But yeah, the World Cup's 2 weeks away.
Is it 2 weeks away?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's head over to another exotic port of call, just like Qatar and Munich. Gainesville, Florida is our byline now as we head over to chat with our good friend Scott Carter of the FloridaGators.com. It is our Chiefs Law Group Gator Report. Good morning, Scotty. How are you?
Hey, guys. Doing well. A little rainy in this neck of the woods, as you guys probably down there. So I don't know what the weather's like in Qatar. It's probably nicer today, actually.
I think it's very nice, right? That's why they moved the World Cup to November, because it will be 1,000 degrees over there. So
yeah, it's going to be hot, man. But yeah, it's one of those plays. It's going to be interesting to watch that because I've read a little bit about it being there. It sounds a little controversial, guys.
Just a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
A few people have perished in the building of the stadiums. It's corrupt. It's all that good stuff. But we don't need to talk about that because we got a lot to talk about with the Florida Gators, who got a huge road win at Texas A&M this last week. I know they were a little depleted, but a road win is a road win in the SEC for Florida. And I believe it was the first one that they've had in a couple of years, right? You were there. Tell me a little bit about it.
I mean, first road win in the SEC since 2020, which when you really step back and think about that, that's just kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
But it just shows you what happened last year and the transition they're under right now with Billy Napier. But it was one of those games, guys, where, I mean, it was truly a coin flip game. I mean, both teams came in there kind of skidding a little bit. You know, Texas A&M lost 4 in a row. The Gators have lost 2 in a row. And it was a kind of like a basketball game in the first half. Both teams were moving up and down the field. And at halftime, Ventrell Miller, the 6-year senior linebacker for the Gators, I mean, he really got fired up in the locker room and says, guys, this game's winnable. We can do this. We can play better than we are defensively. And I thought they came out and played probably their best quarter under Billy Napier, that third quarter. They made the stops defensively. Anthony Richardson really did a good job in the passing game with a couple of touchdown passes in the quarter. And they really took control of the game. And it was a big win that they're hoping to, use as a launch here into the last 3 games and see if they can finish up strong and have some momentum going into the offseason.
You mentioned Anthony Richardson there, and obviously we've talked about the up and down nature of his play at times, still very young. But did you feel like at least the last 3 or 4 games, it feels like he's starting to even out a little bit? Like maybe we're not getting, the crazy plays, like the really good ones like we did at the beginning of the year, but we're also not getting some of the boneheaded mistakes as much. You feel like he's starting to kind of even out a little bit. We're starting to see what he really is.
Yeah, I think we are seeing that. We've talked a lot with you guys about that learning curve that he's been going under. I mean, again, I remind people like Saturday against South Carolina is his 11th career start. So he's still new to this, even though we've all seen the ability. And I think perception kind of got smacked in the face, guys, as we've also talked about when they beat Utah. But then he really struggles the next 2 games. And people are like, well, this guy can't play quarterback. But that's just the growing pains. And then since the Tennessee game, he's got 9 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions, and we saw still how important his ability as a runner is for Florida with that 60-yard dash at Texas A&M that really gave Florida some early momentum. I just think, he is getting better. There's still a lot of room to improve there. Billy Napier talked about it after the A&M game last Saturday and said, he told Anthony late in the game when it was wrapped up, like he knows Anthony's going to play a lot of football in his career. But he told him, you can use this game as, I think, a pivotal moment for you because you're starting to pick up on some things we're trying to teach you that cost us earlier, but you did it today. And what that was, it was making the plays that were there, not trying to do too much. And then when he sees something, go for it. Like there's that touchdown pass to Jaquavian Fraziers that put him up 27-24 in the third quarter. I mean, that was a great play. He said he had the option to throw it or run it. He thought it was there in the passing game, made a great throw, great catch by Fraziers, and that was really a big turning point.
Scott Carter joining us here from FloridaGators.com. There's been, obviously a couple of rough patches here. Brendan Cox Jr. has left the team. I know there's been some rumblings of other guys. This is standard operating procedure first year for a coach, right? This is nothing to freak out about, even though it's, some big time players, I get it. But give us kind of a feel for what's going on, how the program has handled that and what's happening with Billy Napier as far as, it's these things are going to happen in year 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Brenton Cox news, I mean, I'll admit I was surprised by the timing of that. I knew that there was some things behind the scenes where Brenton was kind of a freelancer on the field. I know it frustrated some of the coaches and his teammates, but I think what ran into his dismissal was some stuff, whether it was not being on time, not being accountable. Very talented player. He's, he passes the eye test. He's probably the most impressive looking player the Gators had on defense. But to me, that just says a lot about Billy Napier being serious about this culture and accountability that he's preached to these guys. And I think he caught a lot of guys' attention with that dismissal. And on the field, I thought the defense, played its best half of the season, and they did it just kind of fulfilling their assignments. And that's huge. And, in the big picture, JP, as far as, there's going to be more attrition. There's certainly going to be some guys that are on this roster right now who are not going to be here in the spring. That's the nature of not only college football these days, but especially, Billy Napier said it earlier this week. He says your first year, you're going to have more attrition than normal. What you're going to do is try to get guys who are really into your culture, and then you build your program with consistency. And that's where he is. So it is going to be a retooled roster after the year.
And talk about, let's look at the South Carolina game at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, the Swamp. 4:00 is the time. Going to be beautiful weather this weekend, by the way. South Carolina comes in 6-3. They're having a good season under Shane Beamer, but their defense is not fantastic. The Gators defense has been, I think they're the worst in third downs, right, in the nation. But they have been taking the ball away, and South Carolina is willing to do that. So just handicap this game for me against South Carolina.
Well, a couple of things that stand out is kind of similar to the Texas A&M game. South Carolina is, I think, 11th in the league in rushing defense. They give up almost 200 yards per game. I think A&M was 13. So, Florida's going to want to establish the run early. Yeah. That's what they were able to do against Texas A&M. And then, the turnover factor, Florida is now +6, which I think is tied atop the league. So they're doing a good job there. And the third down, which they actually improved. I think they're up to 125th in the country.
Oh, okay.
They were 130th. That's what happens when you make 7 of 8 stops in the second half on third down at A&M. So can they maintain that going into the South Carolina game? That's going to be a big, big question mark. It has been all year. And you got to stop Spencer Rattler, who's been very inconsistent for the Gamecocks. But the Florida, you don't have to tell them, at least the guys who have been around for a while, what he can do. Because in that Cotton Bowl back in 2020, Rattler passed for 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Gators got thumped 55-20 out in their first ever Cotton Bowl appearance. So I think for the older guys, they're hoping to get a little bit of payback there. But you gotta force him into some tough decisions in the passing game, because while he's a pretty good athlete, he's not the runner that Anthony Richardson is. So if you put pressure on him, you can force some mistakes. And him and Richardson, I just looked it up. I mean, their passing stats are amazingly similar. 9 touchdowns, 8 picks for Rattler, 9 and 7 for Richardson. The big advantage that Richardson has is in the running game.
Yeah, absolutely. So at 5-4, I mean, this is kind of a pivotal game. If they can win this, get bowl eligible, and in first year programs like this, bowl eligibility is so huge because you get those 15 extra practices. I mean, it's a really good time to build your program, especially looking towards next year. So how important is it to get there? And what's really left for the season here for Florida as they look at it? Obviously, no division title. They still got a big game against Florida State, obviously, at the end of the year. So how would you what's the rallying call right now for the Gators for the rest of the year?
Well, JP, I just think this is all about the future, man. I mean, you're right. They're not playing for the SEC East. They're not playing, for a national title. What they're playing for is to kind of further, I guess, build on what Napier has wanted to do in year one. That's an attitude. That's finishing strong. That's continued improvement for young players such as Anthony Richardson and many more. And, you do get those 15 practices. That's only going to help in the development of a lot of young players who we're going to see more of down the final stretch. I mean, they still need one more win to get bowl eligible. And, of course, they still have that huge game at the end of the year against Florida State. We saw what the Seminoles did to Miami. So now they're ranked, and that's suddenly – That's going to be a big game in the recruiting wars. So there's a lot to play for. And I think that's been his message to the team. Look, let's finish strong and let's carry on what we did at A&M. Let's bring it home against South Carolina because, this South Carolina team is dangerous. I mean, they've won 5 of 6. They were ranked earlier in the year. So they know that they've got to come out and play well and take care of their what they need to take care of. Or, they're right back to 500.
Yeah, and it's obviously, senior day, I believe, is it at this one. And, probably the most noteworthy guy is Ventrell Miller, who you did talk about his impact so far. And just talk a little bit about his journey because, go back, this might be his 3rd head coach, I believe. that he's been on since he's gotten here. And when he got there, I believe he was suspended for like the felony fraud thing, and now he's turned into the most impactful player on their defense. So just sum up his entire journey here the last 5 years.
Well, Ventrell's one of those guys, once you meet him and get to know him, it's hard not to like him. But he came in from Lakeland, and I think he got surrounded by some bad guys at first and did some things he shouldn't have done. But I think he was one of the guys that they felt like, okay, this guy's showing true responsibility. He's going to work and earn his place back. He did. And he's really become one of their senior leaders. I mean, he played for McElwain, played for Mullen. Now he's playing for Napier. He also played for two interim coaches in Randy Shannon and Greg Kent. So, I mean, the guy's played for 5 head coaches. I was joking with him earlier. That is without question a school record in my research. He's having a good year. He was banged up a lot last year after that USF game, missed the season. He's a little undersized, but everybody loves his motor. I think he's going to get some looks beyond college football. But he's the kind of guy you got to have, especially for a first-year coach. You have to have a couple of veteran guys who are doing it the right way and who kind of buy into what you're trying to build. And I think Ventrell's been a centerpiece of that, not only for the defense, but really for the whole locker room.
Well, if the Gators go on a run, maybe they can get into a bowl game against UCF, my Nick's team over here, and maybe get a little revenge for last year's butt whooping.
I'm going to say it again. You don't want the smoke, number one. And number two, after UCF wins this game against Tulane and wins out, I'll see you on January 1st, like I said. So Florida won't be there.
Well, they're trying to avoid playing FSU in a bowl game, so they want to win the UCF.
That may or may not be true. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Well, Gators fans can't really say much to that. UCF got them last time. So. But, UCF, I will say, I mean, they're doing some impressive things. I'm just glad to see Florida State kind of back on the upswing. So I'm really hoping the Gators can keep it rolling. Yeah. Florida State can keep it rolling until that game, because that's just going to make that game that much more exciting.
Well, yeah, Florida State's got Syracuse this week, and Syracuse is trending downward. They got some injuries on the defensive line, so I think FSU will take care of that business. And then they're headed towards that Friday game, the Black Friday game, which is something we've never done before. I'm gonna go up to that game. It should be fun.
Yeah, that is a new experience. We've seen a few new experiences lately in this rivalry. It's a first time Gators have been over to Tallahassee in 3 years, obviously, with the COVID game being canceled.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so they haven't played over there since 19. So it's going to be a tough one for them. But I love that game as always.
So glad we missed that game, and glad that game wasn't played, because that was a really bad FSU team. That would have been an ass whooping of epic proportions. So maybe there's one good thing from coming. All right, partner. Just tell us where we can find all the content at FloridaGators.com. What you guys got going on this weekend?
Yeah, next couple of days, a lot of stuff. Just, senior day, writing about a couple of the guys, and also just taking a look at this game set with against South Carolina, some of the matchups, and what we talked about earlier, writing a story about what is the Gators' mission here in these last 3 games, and what are the players and the coaches saying about how important it is to finish strong. And I think it's imperative, because first-year coach, man, you knew it was going to be a challenge, but you don't want to not make a bowl game, especially not at the University of Florida, and you want to have some momentum going into that recruiting period.
Yeah, and this is these are the games where you really start finding out about your young players, and you can put them in certain positions and see if they're going to answer the bell. There's no, you can go through practices and do all you want, but if you're instilling a culture, the best way to find out about players is what they do on game day and in big situations. And so if you're a Gator fan, even if you're an FSU fan, you're watching these programs build, that's what you got to watch. Look for those young players who are putting it out there and playing hard, because that's the future of your program. And also, I was going to ask you this as well. I think with the way Anthony Richardson has played this year, it's kind of a blessing in disguise, because there's no way he can think about going to the NFL, right? I mean, that's not. I mean,
that's going to be the $1 million question after.
Oh, come on!
I'm like you from a football perspective. I mean, this guy has so much room to develop. We all know that, but then I also know that I read Mel Kiper the other day. He still got him like in the late first round as a quarterback, and I know NFL.
Yeah, young.
Yeah, NFL guys, they see potential, man. They see, they can't get him in college, but we get him here, man. We'll make a star out of him. And, there's some, look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, I didn't expect him to be this kind of quarterback in NFL, but he's working with a guy who I know is a hell of a coach, and Brian Johnson, who was here, who did so much good work with Kyle Trask. But, for Gators, I mean, it would be great if Anthony comes back.
He should. He needs more starts. He needs more seasoning. He needs to do it at the college level, not the pro level. And trust me, I don't think NFL coaches. That's one of those things. Like, when for the NBA, you got to draft a Kobe Bryant or something. It's like, yeah, they're unbelievably talented, but the first few years are going to be rough.
Yeah,
it's going to be rough. They're going to put him in situations, and they're going to fail a lot. So I think for Anthony's sake, and the fact that you can make, he can make good money playing in college football, that's a big deal now, right?
And I think that
allows him,
that adds a different layer to this argument than it did even 5 years ago.
It really does.
You've got some options there. You can play. You're going to be the starter. And I don't know what kind of money would be similar to what he can make in the NFL, but you're probably not going to play up there. You're just going to be on the practice for 2, 3, 4 years. And this guy
if you're drafted in the first round, that's the problem. They got to throw you out there.
They're going to throw you out there, and then you're
not the way you want your it's not the way you want your career to start. And you're probably going to go to he'd probably be late first round, so it'd be a better team. Hell, it might be the Bucs. The Bucs would be certainly looking at him in the middle rounds, but that's going to be such a long learning curve. Is where if he stays in, he could be a top 5 pick, and that's a whole different deal. So we'll see what decision he makes. But I do think the fact that he could still make money in college, if I were him, I would stay. I would definitely stay.
No, I'm the same way, and I know he's I'm sure it's going to be heavy on his mind after the season, and he'll eventually get there where he's going to go. But we'll all be watching it, no doubt about that.
I have a sneaky feeling we're going to be talking about Anthony Richardson coming to are the Bucs going to take Anthony Richardson? We shall see. All right, Scotty, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too, guys. Take care.
They kind of just put that together. I mean, when after Brady retires again or goes to New England or whatever, the Bucs are obviously going to be looking for a quarterback, and they could be picking late in the first round if they go on a run, or in the 20s. And obviously there'll be a need for a quarterback. And if Richardson's coming out.
I mean, they weren't.
If you're a Bucs fan, it's like you'd love to have a great athletic quarterback, but he's just not ready.
I'm pretty sure that they were, I mean, a lot of teams were, but they were in attendance, I think, for the Utah-Florida game, scouting him. So I think they already are interested in him. He has gotten better. Yeah, the Mel Kiper. Did you see the Mel Kiper quarterback ranking?
No.
Somebody is going to get fired for drafting Will Levis ahead of Bright. Because I mean, have you watched Will Levis play?
Yeah, he's a good quarterback.
Does it blow you away though?
No.
This guy is being talked about going ahead of Bryce Young. Like Kiper has him ahead of Bryce Young. It's like the general feeling right now. I don't understand. They're saying that he's like a Josh Allen prototype. In what way?
He's big.
Okay.
He's got a good arm. He's played a lot.
Well, they're saying that he has running capability. I don't see it.
He can run, but not
like Josh Allen. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Somebody's getting fired for making that pick. Come on.
Yeah, I gotta look more at his tape. I've seen him. I saw him play against Florida. I'm impressed with him as a college quarterback, and I think he has a lot of attributes to be a good pro. But Bryce Young is this is where the game is moving. The game is moving towards those type of quarterbacks. He's so dynamic. Bryce reminds me a lot of Charlie Ward. I think he's not the biggest of stature, but he's got a great arm. He's got great touch. His mobility. Yeah, his elusiveness.
It's like we're still doing this thing about concern with his size. It's like take a look at the teams that are succeeding right now.
What is he? He's 6'2", I believe.
I don't even know if he's that big, to be honest with you. But like, just look at the guys who kind of play similar and can move. Like Jalen Hurts is having a great season. Tua's the smallest quarterback in the league, and they're 6-0 when he plays.
Yeah,
think about that.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray. For as much as he kind of irritates me sometimes, he's a very talented. We already know what Lamar Jackson can do. I mean, can we stop with this whole stuff? He's too small. Like,
yeah, that's
come on.
Not a
it's so
anymore.
archaic.
That's not a thing anymore. It's just the drop back 6'5", quarterback is
fossils.
It's a dinosaur.
Look
You
at
say,
the way
look at Josh Allen.
The Bucs are a great example.
Josh Allen also can move.
The Bucs are a great example. They can only play one way,
Exactly.
and because they can't do it right now, they stink.
Exactly. And we've been talking about this all year long. You don't have a mobile quarterback, and it's like it's not even like, I think there's like 3 levels of quarterback. There's the well, maybe 4. There's the Josh Allen who can do it all, like literally can run, incredible runner, incredible passer. He, to me, and I would put Mahomes in that group as well.
I still think Mahomes is the class of the league.
Can run and throw. Those 2 guys, I think, are the cream of the crop. So that's tier 1. And then you have the guys that are super athletic runners, like Lamar Jackson, and adequate passers and can get the job done.
Jalen
Hurts, and Justin Fields is.
They're starting to find something there a little bit with him.
Yeah, keep an eye. Yeah, that
third year,
nothing around him, 0 weapons, bad offensive line for most of his career. Starting to get him some weapons.
He can run,
and he can run. He can freaking run. And he's starting to become a better passer. We're seeing these guys get to the NFL and clean up their mechanics and become better passers.
And that's why Anthony Richardson's probably very desirable, because he can do it. But he probably has more passing potential than some of these other guys if he can figure it out. But I still think he needs a lot more seasoning.
He does. He needs to. I like guys that have played games. Give me a guy, and you can go back and look at the numbers on this.
Yeah.
Guys that have started over, I think it's like 30, 35 or 40 games in college are much more likely to be successful in the NFL than these guys that have started even for 2 years. You get under 25 starts, and Anthony would be at 15 starts for his college career.
Yeah, it's why
I draft a kid with 15 starts.
It's why I'm all aboard the Hendon Hooker train right now.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll have to get in that scouting process in the offseason and all that. But I think he's like 24, 25 years old. I like that.
When you get to 35, 40 games, you're starting to see the holes. You're starting to see the anticipation that you have to throw within the NFL.
Yeah.
And these things, it's not like, okay, I'm watching it, I'm reading. It's like you start to see it. It's like there's a moment, and if you've ever played an instrument, there's a moment where you stop thinking about where the chord is and you start feeling where the chord is. And that, or in a guitar sense. And so you stop looking for the note, and you start feeling the note and listening for the note. And that's where it comes with football. You stop saying, okay, this is where I got to go with the read. And this is, I'm watching this particular player. Instead of seeing it, it plays out in front of you, and you instinctively know that's where the ball is going. And that takes thousands and thousands of reps in practice and hundreds of reps in games at game speed. And that's where you start to really find guys that can become successful. And Anthony Richardson needs another 400 passes in competition, 400 to 500 passes in competition to be able to become that guy. Yeah. And, or you can just get in the draft and get drafted by a team and learn on the fly. And get paid a lot of money to do it. But
regardless of what happens, I think if the Bucs are going into looking beyond the Tom Brady, I think this is the year. If you're trying to find a quarterback, there's clearly a lot here to like, and I'm all aboard. I'm all aboard that train right now, and it's November. I'm already on it. So,
and if I had to, you didn't read the whole list there from Kuiper, but I would, as far as
he had Stroud as his one. That's everybody's. Usually, he's been the consensus so far as Stroud. And then most people with a level mind, I think, put Bryce Young at 2. And then you differentiate Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson after that.
I mean, who doesn't belong in that group? I mean, it's Anthony Richardson. My goodness.
They were Devin Leary was supposed to be a part of that group. He got the injury. Wasn't all that impressive before the injury.
No, he was not.
Tyler Van Dyke was supposed to be a part of this group, and he probably isn't even draftable anymore, to be honest with you.
He's not.
So, and after
Isn't that
interesting.
Yeah.
And after that, it kind of gets a little weaker.
Because guess what? When these guys start playing more, getting more reps, they get exposed.
Yep.
So drafting a guy with 15 starts.
I think this could have been the DJU year, but he also played himself out of his draft stock.
Out of it, absolutely. And it would be a super reach at this point to draft Anthony Richardson, a super reach. And your first 2 years are going to be awful.
He'd have to sit. But the way teams are now, it's hard. I mean, did you see Malik Willis the other night? You want to talk about not ready?
Yeah.
Need to sit?
Yeah.
My goodness.
I saw Malik Willis in the preseason. I'm like, no. He's a one read run guy. Yeah, you can't play that way in the NFL. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into some Todd Bowles from yesterday. Always interesting press conferences with Todd now. The question, sometimes the questions are better than the answers, but it's that's Todd. He ain't gonna wow you from the press conference, but always some interesting facts to talk about. So we'll get to that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. The Gator Report brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Go to the website and give them a call if you have any issues with your insurance companies or need any legal help at all. It's the Jeeves Law Group. And Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you're looking for testosterone replacement therapy, looking to lose weight, get your immune system up for the cold and flu season, great way to do it. Go to BAMMC.com and see Chris Lugo and the team over there. They will take care of you. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVS lawgroup.com. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube each and every day or go back and watch us if you like. Just please subscribe to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate that. And you can also watch us on Twitter and Facebook, and you can comment there as well, and we'll put your comments up where we can. James is asking us, JP, when did Harold Goodwin say that about the run plays not used? He said that this week, and here's the actual quote that he said at the press conference, or it was in Rick Stroud's piece, talking about 22-23 double is the name of the play call. It's a basic running play where they double the down lineman and then push up to the linebacker, something that Nick Leverett has shown he can do very well, but Gedeke wasn't too good at it. He said, quote, "It's in there. I can't control what the play caller calls, but it's in there every week. It's basically our base play. You start with that to create everything you do in the run game, from play action passes to what we're doing running wise." He continued, "We have it in there. We have a lot of runs. It's just whether we get to them or not. It's how the play caller is feeling. It's my favorite play by far because we have a lot of success with it. It just depends on whether Byron is feeling like calling it that day or not. I can't control that."
Interesting.
Yikes. And we talk about, a good play caller. A good play caller is setting up plays and building on plays. There where certain actions lead to other plays and other reactions, and watching what the defense is doing, how they're reacting to your formations, and then you work off those particular plays. And that's how you keep teams off balance. You get that double team going, get a little success in there. Now they got the linebackers like, I got to really load up now. I got to get to that hole quicker the next time I see this action. And he sees the action of the offensive lineman, and then it's like, whoa, Brady just pulled it. Nice little hole behind him for the tight end. Play action pass. Protection is better. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
But if you're not calling that play to set up the play action, yikes, no good, doesn't work. So, and I think that's why we're seeing things that are so disjointed. And for, other coaches to come out publicly and say this, and for Leonard Fournette, bitching about his playing time.
I think Harold Goodwin is just irritated that his stock is falling as a guy who wants to be a head coach in this league. And he's looking at it. We got the worst run game in the history of the NFL since the merger. and I want to be a head coach, and I'm the run game coordinator, and I'm I'm going to be painted as I'm responsible for part of this, and you're blowing me up, Byron. So call the damn plays that work.
It's a great point. It's a great point. It doesn't look good on the resume.
No, it doesn't.
Says here you're the run game coordinator. Let's see how. Oh, well.
Listen, there's a lot of guys who wanted to be head coaches on this staff. Harold Goodwin wanted to be a head coach. It ain't looking good there. Larry Foote wanted to be a head coach. I believe he has been overseeing Devin White, if I'm correct. Now, yes. Devin White was much better this past week, but before that, no good. So there's a lot of guys on this staff who wanted to be head coaches who aren't exactly have good resumes at the moment this year.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you're losing.
Yeah.
Because, that's what happens. You have success, right? Everybody has their Super Bowl ring. So now it's about me, right? Now it's about what can I get out of this now that we've done the team thing. And that's why it's so hard for teams to repeat. Look at the Rams. Look at the Buccaneers. Last year they did really well to win 13 games in a Super Bowl hangover and come back and play it. I thought they did a fantastic job. It's hard because guys start to want to get theirs, right? That's what Phil Jackson always used to say. It becomes a me thing. And that's why it's hard to sustain greatness in any professional sport. And so, yeah, I think we got a lot of that going on with coaching staffs and players and everybody wanting to get theirs. And everybody needs to get back to what's best for the team and not worry about covering their own ass. And I'm not saying that's Harold or Larry Foote or any of these guys, but that just is kind of the dynamic that it seems to be playing out because of why we're asking all these questions. Now, there was a stat that I just tweeted out there. You're more of an analytics guy, so put your Nicky numbers hat on and explain the EPA impact from drop passes in weeks 1 through 9. The Bucs are far and away the leader in EPA impact from drop passes.
Yeah, and I believe it's 54 points that they could have had if they did not drop those passes, which is by far leading the league there. I mean, and listen, if you look at the top of that list, there are some playoff teams there. So it's not like the Bucs are bad necessarily because of it, but again, it's another reason it goes into it. And there's enough of these analytic stats out there where the Bucs are just struggling in EPA. Now, that was brought up to Byron Leftwich by J.C. Allen. We know how Byron Leftwich feels about EPA. He don't know it. He don't care about it. It's not in his book. He doesn't read on it. He don't care. It is what it is. But all these stats bear it out that the Bucs are one of the worst offenses in football. No logic. There you go. It's the same thing with the EPA when they run play action. They're the 4th best team in the league at running play action. And they do it the 3rd least amount of times in the NFL.
Make it make sense.
So,
all right.
My brain can't take that.
It's hard. It's hard to wrap your arms around it, but that's why I say dysfunction junction. We need to be better. All right, let's hear from Todd Bowles from yesterday's press conference. Brought to you by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Courtesy.
Afternoon.
Todd?
Todd, you guys did a much better job stopping the run last week. You look at the Seahawks and their ground game, that's really a huge part of their offensive attack. You look at all of their offensive players that touch the ball. I think Geno Smith has got the worst average at 4.8 yards. What are they doing in the run game to make everybody they get the ball to successful on the ground?
They're blocking up front very well. They have 2 great runners. Well, Penny got hurt, but with Walker, they got a heck of a runner. He's got great vision. He was great in college. He's good now. The receivers can run the ball, doing jet sweeps and everything, and then you got the quarterback run. So they spread it around pretty much, and they always threaten you outside with speed, so you got to play them honest.
Does it give you guys more confidence that you had such a better showing against the run over the last couple of weeks, that heading into this game where it's going to be a big point of emphasis for Seattle?
Well, confidence has never been an issue. It's about discipline. We got to stay disciplined in our gaps.
Todd, you got to coach Geno Smith a little bit in New York with the Jets. Gets the start now with the Seahawks. What have you seen from him in his growth just from where he was to now? Have you seen that really with anyone in the NFL, let alone the quarterback position, to go through being a backup and then getting this opportunity and really making the most out of it?
It's a credit to his hard work. Geno, you got to grow up in this league a little bit, and everybody gets that chance. When I had him, he was a lot younger. He was a very good quarterback then. The maturity as a backup kind of sets in when you become an older quarterback. He runs the offense well. He knows what to do. He's comfortable in the system, and the guys around him, he's doing a hell of a job right now. So my hat's off to him.
Seattle's last couple of wins, they just really pulled away at the end. I think they got the last 14 against the Giants and then 3 scores late in their last win against Arizona. What do you see about them that allows them to kind of have that extra gear to pull away at the end of games like that?
They play hard and they play smart. They play smart football and they play very hard. They play with each other. They play together, and they're doing a heck of a job.
You look at their rookie cornerback, Tariq Woolen. What do you see on film from him? He's made an impact so far with takeaways.
Now, you saw the flashes in college. He's put it together his rookie year since he's come in the league. He's 6'4". Usually get a 6'4" corner that runs a 4.29, or 4.27, whichever he ran. He got his hands on balls in college. He's getting his hands on balls, and now he's a willing tackler. He's got very good footwork for a guy that tall, and he's making plays. It's hard to throw over him.
Tons of adjustments that have to be made with given the fact this is going to be 9:30 Eastern time. Most guys are used to their internal clock, probably used playing football after 1 o'clock. Seattle's going to be like 6:30 in the morning. Is that something that has to be adjusted or worked on, or do you just kind of just play football?
You try to adjust it as best you can. We try to catch up on our sleep Friday and Saturday, and we have sleep things and glasses and all that stuff for the plane. And I guess everybody's going to be different. We just understand we have to kick off at that time, body clock wise, early in the morning. So we got to be ready to play Sunday.
What do you have for the plane to help with sleep?
No, they give you sleep glasses during the week where you can wear them a couple hours at night to help adjust everything and try to get you a little tired and do all that stuff. So, we're working on all that.
With all of those extra things that you have to do, how much more challenging is it to prepare for a game with all of these extra things?
It's not. It's football. At the same time, you're going to play somebody else. And the time change and the glasses and the sleep time going over, it'd be no different if we had to fly to Seattle. That's a long flight, too. So it wouldn't be maybe another hour more at tops. But the time change, you just have to deal with. We understand that going over. We'll be excited to play, and we'll be ready to play.
Rashad's getting gradually more into the game plan, a few more carries a game, a few more targets. Is he on the pace you guys anticipated? What's his progress like at this point?
His progress is good. He's ready to play anytime we put him in there. Obviously, Lenny's playing hard and Lenny's playing good for us. So when Lenny gets a break and Rashad comes in, he gets to show what he can do. So I think it's a good combination.
Obviously, this is a business trip, but will you experience anything in Germany while you're over there at all? Is there any time for that?
For me personally, probably not. But, I've never been there, so I don't know what the experience will be like. I'll see what they have. And we're going for a business trip. If I like it, I'll go back in the summer.
You guys scored 16 points, 7 of which came in the last 9 seconds. You've been working on this offense collectively as a group, trying to get more points on the board. You're happy, satisfied with the win, but the point production and the red zone conversions, getting into touchdowns rather than field goals, has not happened to the frequency you guys want. What's still happening to prevent that from happening?
We just got to execute better. Again, our job is to score one more point than the other team. They did that. You can play well and not score a bunch of points when you play good defenses, but running the football and catching the ball and having all the third downs we have, and we keeping their offense on the field, which is off the field, which is very explosive. Obviously, we want more points. We always want more points, and that's going to be a year-long thing. I don't care if we score 27. Byron will probably tell you we should have 40. So it's going to be a year-long process that we're working on, but we're gelling and we're working out kinks still. We just got to get them out quicker.
It was like you knew it was coming. You're like, we got to execute better. Man, oh man.
I thought we had moved past that word.
No.
I hadn't heard it in a few press conferences.
No, we got to execute better.
That was the answer. How do we get the ball in the end zone? We have to execute better.
Not use different personnel.
Not personnel, not call better plays.
Not call better plays.
No, here it is. I got it. They can't go into those details because, frankly, you just wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand. If he starts getting into the X and O's, you just wouldn't understand.
It's very complicated. It's
very
football.
complex stuff.
Very complex stuff.
You didn't go to college for football. You didn't do it. Nope.
No, look, we don't expect them to here's our game plan. What do you think? But I don't know. I guess there's really not a great answer in this situation.
There's not. It's just that word has become the theme of the season for everybody. Execute, execute, execute.
But sometimes I would like, it's like, and I wasn't there, so I shouldn't complain about the questions. And I didn't feel like I should bear down And I wanted to ask Byron today about, the 3rd and 2 call, but they're not doing the interviews post practice today because they got to get on the plane. So it's just like, why can't we call better plays in the red zone? Like, what are you doing in the red zone? It's just no rhyme or
I'd rather
reason
you
to
tell
any
me
of it.
that we need to call better plays than just saying we need to execute the ones we call better.
Yeah.
Because the problem is the plays. It doesn't matter what you do, they're not going to work. Okay, just some of them. They're just designed not to work.
Well, they're not designed not to work, but they're not working, and it's the same stuff.
You're shooting yourself. You're not giving yourself the best chance for them to work. Put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. We'll continue with the top balls.
Have you seen more success when the team goes up tempo at all? It seems. I mean, they got in a rhythm. Obviously, you got to come back in the last game, but those last 2 drives, it looked like they were catching rhythm.
Sometimes 2 minutes, when it's depending on whether you're winning or losing, whether they take the brakes off the defense or not, or whether you put the brakes on the offense or not. It's different depending on the situation of the game. You can have some up tempo in game that could work. You can have it that it can't work. So with the game the way it was going down to the end, up tempo, we needed up tempo. We didn't have any timeouts, so that was important for us to get down and get a score. But I've seen it work both ways.
How's Donovan Smith playing for you guys this year? You give up back-to-back sacks against Carolina and Pittsburgh and a holding call. Is he playing at the level you guys wanted to play?
I don't think any of us are playing at the level that we want everybody to play, or we'd be undefeated. So he's got work to do just like everybody else. And, it's easy to sit up here and point out what he gave up, but we don't point out what he did well. He does a lot of things well. So he's our left tackle. We like him. We understand we can't have holding calls and we never want to give up sacks, but, it happens here and there. We just need it to happen less frequently.
You went to what?
With boy, you turn on the tape. First of all, you see how heavily wrapped that elbow is?
Yes.
Wow. And you see guys attacking his inside. He just got no push. He's hurt. He's really hurt. He's gutting it out.
Got one on.
Yeah. And people and players know it. These guys know it, the great players, and they're going to attack it. You got to give him help at some points because he just doesn't have a whole lot of leverage on that inside.
It's been hard to help him though because the guy next to him,
exactly,
it's very inexperienced there.
Exactly, and that's tough. And you saw on the goal line when they tried to run, nine defenders against 7 offensive linemen, he was the one that gave up the inside pressure.
Yeah,
and he couldn't, and that's who made the play in the backfield.
In my head, it's like I'm thinking, okay, in a hypothetical scenario, get Gronk back and maybe it'd help him, but. I mean, he's going to be on the outside. And I mean, he's getting beat sometimes on there, but not as frequently as you're talking about the inside. Yeah. So I really don't even know unless you're pulling Gronk inside or stuff like that. I don't know. But.
Well, you can, I mean, in pass protection, you can help out with a running back. You can help him out. And you can
fullback.
You can, you can slide protection that way, and the guard can help as well to protect that inside gap. But other teams know this, and they're going to make adjustments. But that's just something you got to live with when a guy he's gutting it out and he's playing as hard as he can, but you can see that it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. All right, we need to take one more break, or
we're all good to go.
All right, we're good to go. So we want to get to the Rays a little bit. As far as the stadium stuff goes, folks, the election, I think, kind of put a hold on a lot of stuff because, I'm trying to talk to politicians who are involved in elections, and they're like, yeah, we're not really going to do anything until after the election. So I think, now that the GM meetings are going on right now, right?
Yes.
Out in Vegas, the focus for the Rays really is more on what they're going to do with their 40-man roster, right? They got to make some tough choices. Obviously Kiermaier's option is going to be declined today.
That was just 2 minutes ago. It was declined.
Yeah. So, unless they got to pay him, I think $2.5 million. I think it is.
Who, Kiermaier?
Yeah, the out on that is I think $2.5 million.
Yeah. So
they're going to have some more dead money with him, but they're not going to have to pay his 13 or I think what would have been 15 million this year. So, their cap number right now I think is under 30 million. Before you put in all the arbitration guys and everything else. I mean, their expected cap, I think right now is probably going to be around 70, 75 million, with all the arbitration guys. It may be way less than that, actually. I'll have to go check, but they've got room. Boy, they've got room to sign guys. They've got room to sign guys to long-term contracts. Do we have that audio from Peter Bendix?
Yes.
Peter Bendix. This is from John Morosi on Twitter. Talking about a myriad of moves for the Rays. This is the
Joined by Peter
Rays
Bendix
GM.
of the Tampa Bay Rays. And Peter, looking at Wander Franco, obviously an injury plague season for him. What steps can the organization take to help him through 162 in 2023?
You know, Wander is as incredibly talented as he is. He's very young. He's young. He's relatively inexperienced. He made it to the big leagues really quickly. And I think a lot of it is just kind of him learning himself, him learning his body, what he needs to do to prepare for any individual game. And over 162. It's a long season. He's a really young player. He's dynamic. And I think he's going to use this as a learning year.
With Randy Arozarena among the many players you have who are arbitration eligible, is the time right now to pursue potentially a long-term deal with him?
That's something we're going to look at for sure. I mean, Randy, we've all seen his talent. We've seen what he did in the postseason. He's a dynamic player. He's a threat on offense, defense, base running, everything. He's the kind of guy that you really look to build around. So that's certainly something we'll explore.
With Tyler Glass now just really coming off of the injury and now potentially, hopefully looking at a full 2023, how do you manage his innings going forward?
That one is going to be a fun one because I think Tyler's going to want to throw a complete game every time he's out there. And that's what you want. I mean, he has the talent and the drive to be one of the best pitchers in baseball. And so I think it's going to be working with him and telling him, you know, we want you to have as long a career as you possibly can. And we want you to be as good as you can next year as well. And so he's a really smart guy. He's attuned to his body and what it's telling him. And it's just that communication back and forth with him every day.
Last couple ones for you. With Shane McClanahan, tremendous year. Of course, there was the injury scare late. What sort of analysis have you done on ensuring that there's nothing lingering from that?
I think we feel very confident. You know, we had him go out and pitch in the playoffs, and he had a phenomenal start. I think we feel good about where he is health-wise. He knows that he has to continue to work, that he has to continue to take care of his body. This was his first full season. He's another young player, and a lot of the development is understanding what you need to do for your body to put yourself in position to go out there and compete.
Peter, congratulations again. The Rays are very lucky to have you there as their new GM. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so a couple things there. Wander Franco obviously did have an injury-plagued season. Wander did mention at one point that playing on the turf was affecting him at Tropicana Field. That started with the hamstring injury early on, and that thing just never really seemed to get better, as these things are wont to do, especially when you're playing 162 games. Then he got the broken hand, the hamate bone. There's nothing you can do about that. Obviously, that's just a bad break. But hopefully he can get through a season. His body is he's really, really lean. He's super strong. He's so explosive. Sometimes guys like that are prone to injury because they're so explosive. And, he's going to have to learn his body and how to manage it through 162.
And a big thing, and we've been over this, and we're going to keep saying it, you have got to put adequate batters around this guy.
Yes.
Because what happened last year to him, he's still very young, right? And pitchers were starting to pick up on what he can do and what he's still struggling with. And they were just throwing him a heavy dose of curveball, and he couldn't hit it, right? And that's exactly what happened. So when you can take that guy out of the lineup, there were stretches there where the Rays just didn't have much. So that's a big emphasis. And I know the Rays, from everything we're hearing at these GM meetings, I mean, they're the most active team, is what John Morosi said, of trying to make trades happen. They've been trying to trade G-Man Choi, Johnny Chirinos, Ryan Yarbrough, Yacobonis. Those guys are all available and have a lot of interest out there. Apparently, we saw Nick Anderson was waived yesterday. I think he can, if he's not claimed, he can still tell the Rays, I'm not going to the minors, and then he'd become a free agent, I believe. So that could still happen. So likely he will not be a Ray anymore, which sucks. Injuries really did him in. But I want to see the Rays. Let's see if they add a bat here in the next few days, because
they've got to add a bat.
They've got to. If you're trading
and a Arozarena, this is an intriguing time. He's not going to be a free agent until he's 32 years old in 2027. Oh, there's a magical number. So he's got 4 years of arbitration. Scott Boras is his agent, so he's not going to sign a long-term deal. Or maybe he will. He's got 4 years of arbitration. These are just prime years. To me, he just seems ripe for the trade, because he does have a lot of ability. Bendix, I think, is kind of building him up there, and he is a person to build around. But, we got to ask the question, what the hell went on with Yandy Diaz? There was an altercation. Zach Blobner at 620 reported that it was a physical altercation, and then the Rays came back and says they weren't physical, but guess what? Yandy Diaz didn't play for 2 weeks. And when he came back, he was terrible. Both of those guys, when they came back, were terrible after that incident. And the Rays were terrible The Rays, after that, you go look at the demarcation of when that incident happened. They lost, I think, 10 of their last 15 games. They're swept out of the playoffs. From that moment on, they were terrible. And part of it was because Yandy Diaz wasn't at the top of the lineup for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And everybody wants to just sweep that under the rug. But I'm here to tell you, those things like that don't get swept under the rug. And, who's it going to be? Are they both going to stay here? Did they really bury the hatchet? Who knows?
Yeah.
But, Rosarena seems to me to be, a little bit of an issue. And I would not be shocked if the Rays were to move him.
I'm torn on it because I think we talked about this a little bit after the postseason.
He's one of the few guys you got with power.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this a little bit after the postseason because his name was kind of thrown out there in rumors. Do you trade him? Do you extend him? And I said, hey, this team doesn't have much offense. I don't know what trading one of your best offensive players is going to do. A guy who, excluding this season, has been a postseason star.
Yep.
I don't know what that does, but again, because of the fact that he's not arbitration eligible, he's arbitration for 5 more years.
4 more years.
He's 4 more years. He's very dirt cheap. It makes it a very valuable contract to trade.
He's probably, they're estimating him to make about $3.2 million this year in arbitration.
Exactly.
And that's not much
And
money.
Here's the thing.
For his production,
this is a guy that's
going
to
steal.
This is a guy that's going to give you 40 to 50 extra base hits a season. He just proved that he can steal 30. If he had a little bit more discipline, he probably could steal 40. So,
and this year, the stolen base is way back in.
It went way back into play.
Well, this year coming up because you got the limited throwovers.
Yeah. I think
so that's going to be a big
He is
deal.
limited defensively. We've known the Rays. I mean, we did it with Meadows. He couldn't play defense. They said, you're out of here.
Right.
I mean, Randy's not horrible defensively, but it's not by his calling card by any means. So think about that.
Well, the Rays are notorious for people that they perceive to have attitudes that don't fit in for trading them, i.e. Blake Snell.
Or not re-signing them.
Or not re-signing them.
BJ Upton.
Right. So, that's a big part of their culture, and I think it's a smart part of their culture. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think basically, though,
you got to have guys that buy in.
This might be his peak of value. 27 years old. He's in his prime. We've got 2.5 seasons to go off of here to judge him on, and it's been really good for parts of it. I think he's a little too streaky for my taste to actually put him near the upper echelon of players. He's very, very streaky, and his bad is bad. It's similar to Brandon Lau, I think even worse, though. So from that standpoint,
and I think a lot of these guys are streaky in this because the lineup is so thin.
Yep.
And there's not, when you have a thicker lineup and there's more guys in there, you start getting pitched around. And what happens is when you get in that situation is you start swinging at bad pitches because you're not seeing any good pitches.
Yeah.
And you get anxious and you're supposed to be a run producer. You're supposed to hit home runs. It's very hard to sit there and take, 2 walks a game. It really is. And so you start swinging at bad pitches because they're not going to give you strikes because they know the guy behind you, they're going to strike out anyway. So it just kind of feeds into it. And you got to flip that. You got to flip that and get some, and it doesn't even have to be power, just guys that are hitting for average, that don't strike out. These automatic strikeouts in your lineup just kill you.
Yep.
All right. That'll do it for us today as we will be back tomorrow for Football Friday. Pat Burnham will join us. We'll look ahead to the FSU-Syracuse game, which is a really big game for FSU on the road to continue their winning streak. And we'll also obviously look ahead at the Buccaneers game with Seattle. And we may have, hopefully have a guest from Germany, from Munich, hopefully from the Hofbrauhaus. So have a great Thursday, everybody. Stay safe out there. Stay off the roads. Be safe, and we will chat with you tomorrow.